Mark, welcome to Littleton Common.
Thank you.
You know, Bob is going to be hosting his own show now, Small Town, and so we'll be watching each other's shows, you know, that way. But right now, you're my right-hand man.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And I need to know something.
Sure.
Do you have references?
I knew you were going to ask that. So I have prepared, there's over 300 in here. And you can, you know, take your time. There's dignitaries, ordinary folk, all sorts of, you know.
Okay, but is that all?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, we'll accept it, I guess.
Oh, good.
You know, what do these remind you of?
Well, the lemons on these cups, they remind me of our trip to Italy.
Right.
Yes.
And do you realize that it's been 3 years already since we were there?
Wow.
Yeah, and it was for your 25th wedding anniversary when you and Amy and Alan and I went to Sorrento. But I'm really upset because I don't think we'll be going anytime soon with the virus over our heads.
No,
Yeah.
probably not. But it's sad because, you know, as you know, Hawaii was kind of my first choice for a 25th anniversary, and Italy wasn't on my mind.
But
yes, but the big but.
We convinced you.
You did.
Yeah, I gave you the old romantic Italy routine, and you accepted it, and so I think it's kind of on your list now, maybe with Hawaii.
I think absolutely. If we could go back, we would go back in a second. We loved it so much, and just the people, the sights, the sounds,
Yeah.
the little shops and the villages and everything, and it really suited us well.
Good. I'm giggling thinking about it because it was fun. You had a lot of adventures, and Amy got to see her ancestors' town.
Yes, as a matter of fact, she Italian is her ancestry, and we ended up going to a place called Vietro de Portenza.
Vietri
di
Potenza, yes.
And we rented a car there, which was an experience for me driving in Italy, because not only is the traffic kind of crazy, but it was a stick shift, which it wasn't automatic, and I'm not used to a stick shift.
And smaller car.
Smaller car, and then of course, you know, you got a lot of windy streets and
Traffic.
motorcycles coming in and out of you, and it's really quite an adventure. But
I know. But
we enjoyed it, and we actually went to the town that her ancestors are from, and we went to the cemetery there, took some pictures of some of the gravestones. We found out that her maiden name is Notari,
okay.
but there it's Notari Giacomo, and I guess they cut it short when they came to America.
Right.
So,
yeah.
but so anyone with Notari Giacomo's, and we found probably 30
Wow.
monuments with that name.
Great.
Now we didn't know though that in Italy you're not supposed to really take pictures in a graveyard, and so when we were taking pictures of the stone, a woman came up and kind of scolded us in Italian, and I had no idea what she was, you know, yelling at me for, but later on I found out.
Stupido.
Yeah, exactly. I found out it was disrespectful, and I didn't know that. I didn't mean any disrespect, but.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway.
Well, I have
was a
to
good
tell
time.
you, that when you rented that car and took off, I felt like, you know, your mother or something, because I sat around all day going, you think they're all right? And did he do it? You know, was he able to do it? Even the gal in the hotel at the desk said, are they back yet?
Yeah, well, you do kind of take your life in your hands when you do that. You know, speaking of that, you know, that feeling you got, you know, when your son was going off, you know, on his own. My son is doing driver's ed this summer.
Uh-oh.
And he's going to have his license. This is my number 4 son. So I know I've done it 3 times already with the older ones, but every time a new milestone like this comes along, you feel a little bit you know, nostalgic and nervous, and, you know, just seeing this little guy that I, you know,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
going off
yeah.
on his own to make his way in the world. It's a trying time, but
Yeah.
the summer's good. What about you? You've got some news this summer.
I do. I have both of my granddaughters are getting married. One September in New Hampshire, and the other one in October in Georgia. So
Wow.
we're going to be hopefully we're going to be traveling to the one in Georgia if, you know, the flights are okay and if we're not in danger of catching anything, I guess. But I'm looking forward to that, and
Oh, that's
can't
great.
imagine. I'm sorry, I can't. You're looking at your son growing up and driving, and I'm looking at granddaughters
I know.
who are getting married. So, kind
It
of.
is exciting, though.
Yeah.
Another chapter, and well, you know, I was wondering, back to business here on Littleton Common. What's happening here in Littleton?
Right. What is happening here?
A lot, right? Well, we have a new library that's almost finished, and
Right.
they initially were going to open on September 24th, but I think that the furniture that they ordered, from what I heard, will not be in time. So
Huh.
it won't probably be opening September 24th, but soon after that. And you know, we're excited because we have spent a lot of money on furnishing a room there
Oh,
with
okay.
you know, because they have a very big meeting room, conference room,
Right.
that we've outfitted with robotic cameras, and we're going to be able to broadcast, you know, government meetings from there, and we're excited for that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we've been really up and coming here with our cable station, and
Sure.
I'm really proud of it, and I'm happy that I can do this and that we're on the cable committee
Mm-hmm.
and getting, you know, what you need, equipments, and helping all the organizations in town to be able to, you know, talk about what they do. Yeah, that is,
Yeah.
to me, a lot.
Thank you. Well, we're excited too, and we are always expanding and growing. I mean, last couple town meetings and graduations and things, we've had to improvise and be outdoors on Alumni Field. And you know, the logistics of broadcasting a town meeting indoors are one thing, but you know, to be outdoors is a whole separate thing. But we're happy that on October 25th, when the town meeting is going to be held again this year, the plan is for it to be indoors.
Yeah.
And so we're excited to be back indoors and to be able to cover that live for people to see. And yeah, we're still plugging away. We're as busy as ever, really, even through COVID, because of all the
Right.
Zoom meetings and things like that. So we
And we
haven't
were
really
careful.
slowed down. Yes. Yeah.
So,
And then, what are some of the other changes that are happening here in Town Hall?
well, we have a new director, or a director that has returned, I should say, Liz Tretiak. And Ashley Sheehan, our last director, has moved on to Groton.
Right.
And we hope her the best.
Yeah.
We have a new finance director, a treasurer, town accountant, and also human resources.
We do. Mm-hmm. And I know that they're looking for an assistant to the town administrator
Wow.
as well. And yeah, so a lot of new faces here. And I've heard the town administrator talk about that he's assembling the dream team. So he's very excited about all the
Good.
new changes, the new faces. And you know, one thing we're gonna introduce you each month on this show, Littleton Common. We're going to introduce you to some of these new faces around, so you'll have a chance to see them, hear a little bit about what they do, and a little bit. We want to make it a little bit fun, so we're
Yeah.
going to ask them some personal questions, so we
Uh-oh.
get to know we get to know the people, you know, and so we'll have them on one at a time. You know, there'll be short little segments, but just to give you put a name with a face. You know, because a lot of these people work behind the scenes.
Right, right. But and if you hear about them, at least they'll kind of know what they do and who they are. And if they see them around, they, you know, can say hi.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah. But
What other organizations in town that we know are pretty active, right?
right, right. And don't forget, we have the Littleton Lyceum.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yeah. I've read, I don't know how many years they're up to now, but I know it is the longest running continuous lyceum in the country.
wow.
And it's right here in
In
Littleton.
our own little
In
town.
our own little town. And when I was growing up, my parents used to buy the season pass.
Right.
And they would take me, and I honestly at the time,
Yeah.
being young and everything, I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Until I got there. One time my dad brought me to see the Sounds of Concord. And they were an a cappella choir.
Oh yes, I've heard them.
Yeah, they were like award winning, and I was blown away. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe I got to see this in my town, for one. But so I've kind of been a fan of the Lyceum since then. And
Me too.
And I'm in an organization, we used to do this variety show called Frost Heaves, and we actually performed at the Lyceum twice.
Yeah.
So
I saw you.
you saw me, yeah. So
Yeah.
that was fun. So.
And I bought the family passes.
Mm-hmm.
So because we enjoy it.
And when the Lyceum is going to be starting up, you said soon?
Yes. Let's see. I think we had the information, but
It's October 1st?
October 1st.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Maybe
Well,
we can.
I think I think you told me it was the New Black Eagle Jazz Band.
Right.
Yeah.
And they will be there, and they're great.
Yeah,
So everything they bring is great. Let's face it.
sure.
So they have one in October. I think maybe January. Did we see?
Yeah, well, the best way to determine, all the events the Littleton Lyceum has is go on their webpage, littletonlyceum.org.
Right.
And also they have a pretty good Facebook presence for those of you who are Facebook
Exactly.
savvy,
Exactly.
You can get a lot of information from Facebook these days. Not,
I don't do Facebook. I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
I remember you asked me once, do you do Facebook? And don't you want to know what your children are doing? And I said, I know what they're doing. Don't
sometimes
need to go on
you
Facebook.
don't want to know, yeah.
And I didn't want to be on Facebook, but your children put you on, So I'm there whether I like it or not. But it's
Right.
good for a lot of people. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I don't do
Right.
it. I have other things.
Gotcha.
Right. But one of the other things I have is Garden Club, and I really
yes.
enjoy them. And, they're beginning another year to continue beautifying Littleton. And I think we can see something that they do.
Oh, great. Let's take a look at that.
A look at the Littleton Country Gardeners. If you have spotted the floral containers around our town, you have experienced a look at the Littleton Country Gardeners and part of what they do. Come with us while we take a look inside the work of this civic-minded club. The Littleton Country Gardeners was established in 1959 and federated in 1960 and is a member of National Garden Clubs Incorporated and Garden Club Federation of Massachusetts Incorporated. Our mission is to stimulate interest in the knowledge and love of all phases of gardening, to aid in the protection and conservation of our natural resources, to promote civic beauty in our town. And there are 15 sites in Littleton attended by Littleton Country Gardener members. We encourage the study of horticulture and to entice the next generation of gardeners. The Girl Scouts worked with us to beautify the Shattuck Street courtyard. As a member, our top priority is to work together on our ongoing activities such as year-round plantings at our 15 civic sites, workshops on gardening, flower arranging, and landscaping improvements. Monthly horticulture programs, and for many years on Arbor Day, we have given a tree to third grade students. And many of those trees have matured into larger size. Christmas wreath and swag sale table at annual town fair. Annual plant sale in May with a large selection of perennial plants and Mother's Day gifts. Garden therapy for senior citizens, Some of our members are working, but find time to help with our long list of duties. Members are able to join a committee of their choice, such as civics, horticulture, garden therapy, garden crafts, and with children or seniors. Programs, and the library committee sets up weekly floral arrangements at the Reuben Hoare Library. This committee also plans a holiday theme in December for the library and plans the May end-of-season luncheon. We are proud to be a part of this extraordinary club, which brings us together with new friends and shared gardening ideas. If you are interested in helping to beautify our town and share horticulture skills or learn new ones, email Littleton Country Gardeners @gmail.com and visit our website. New members, men and women alike, are always welcome. You know, another organization that helps our town's environment is New England Forestry Foundation, or what we call NEFF.
Or Prouty Woods, as some people know.
That's right. It's still, to us, Prouty Woods, yes. But here is Frank Lowenstein to tell us what's happening there.
Awesome.
Thanks, Barbara. Thanks, Mark. It's great to be here this evening. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at New England Forestry Foundation. We're headquartered here in Littleton. A lot of people don't know a lot about us, and very few people realize that we're actually the third largest land trust in the country after the national groups, the Nature Conservancy and the Conservation Fund. And we, of course, work only here in New England, but we've conserved the third most land of any land trust in the country. We protect about 1.1 million acres. A lot of that is up in Maine. We work throughout New England. But we have 108 acres right here at Prouty Woods in Littleton. And that property, like all our properties that we own, is open to the public. It gets used a lot for recreation. The Littleton High School cross-country team has both its practices and its meets on the property. The Littleton Community Farm leases some of the fields for its operations and conducts its distributions on our property as well. And then the Prouty House, the former Prouty family home, is our offices, and those are the offices for most of the staff. We have about 21 staff. We have a few who are based up in Maine, one who's based out in Greenfield, one in Vermont, one in Providence, and the rest of the staff all congregates at Prouty Woods, at least during normal times. We've been working largely remotely. There are occasional staff in the office, but we've been working largely remotely since March of 2020, and that is working out pretty well for us thanks to technology and video conferencing. But we sure miss being congregating there in Littleton and having the benefit of interacting with each other and with partners all through the region. On the Prouty Woods property, there are trails that are, as I said, they're open to the public. They're open to folks walking with dogs. Please pick up after your dog. We want to protect the water quality in Long Lake, and we want to protect the experience for all the other visitors. But our properties, like all of our properties, they're open to the public, and the public in our mind includes dogs. Dogs are welcome. There is a little bit of a landing down on Long Lake. You're welcome to carry your boat into that landing and launch onto Long Lake from there if you want. It's also a nice spot to take a swim if you like a little more of a secluded setting than the town beach. The trails wind around what's called Wilderness Hill. It's one of the 2 tallest points in Littleton, and there's a nice view from the top of Wilderness Hill. On a good day, you can see all the way to Mount Monadnock, which is pretty remarkable, I'd say. New England Forestry Foundation is, of course, dedicated to forest conservation. I mentioned that we protect 1 million acres. That's pretty much all forest land, except when those lands come with a few accessory fields, as with the Prouty Woods property. We also, in addition to protecting land, we do practice exemplary forestry. We practice the very highest quality of sustainable forestry, and we put that forward in our exemplary forestry standards and in our programs, working with partners to improve the quality of forest management all through the region. And we think that's really important. It's particularly important today in this era of climate emergency that we find ourselves in, where we need every ounce of carbon that we can get out of the atmosphere so it's not excessively warming the planet. And by practicing exemplary forestry, we can actually store more carbon in the living forest. We can have more trees growing bigger, growing better, and produce more wood as well, which can substitute for steel and concrete and other fossil fuel intensive products. So it's a nice win-win solution. We're promoting that through our Exemplary Forestry Center, which is a unification of our programs. It's not a physical center, to really drive the benefit of forests for climate and for all of us. New England Forestry Foundation is a nonprofit. We're supported by private contributions, private individuals, and we're very grateful to all of you who perhaps are members. Again, our properties are open to the public. There's the Prouty Woods property here in Littleton. There's several properties in Groton, including Wharton Plantation and Groton Place. Please come enjoy, and once the offices are back open again, stop in and say hi. Thank you.
Now, let's not forget our pets.
No.
I know Billy Bob isn't. He wants to know what's going on. But
yeah,
here's
the
Dawn
mayor
Brooks.
of Littleton, right?
Right. Well, the star, let's
Yes,
put it
right.
that way. But here's Dawn Brooks to tell us what's happening.
Ah, great.
Today I'd like to talk to you about a topic that I am intensely passionate about, and that is pet nutrition. We know from talking to our own doctors what we eat and the choices we make when we choose food is very important to our health. Many people can develop chronic medical conditions from making choices that affect us later in life. There are a lot of studies, a lot of evidence that shows that this happens in dogs and cats as well. And so really what it comes down to is, how do you know which food is the best food for your pet? Years ago, we didn't have a lot of choices. You bought food in the grocery store, or you bought food through your veterinarian, and it was pretty black and white. But the food industry has changed quite a bit in the last decade, and there's more and more choices out there for you to choose from. So this is where my advice, or what I give my clients for advice, is actually a little bit more about looking at the company and where is that food being made? How is it being made? And using that to determine if we should trust that food company. The first thing I tell people is I want a food company that employs a board-certified veterinary nutritionist, a veterinarian that has gone through additional training in the area of nutrition, which I believe qualifies them to decide what should be in that food and what ingredients are good for our pets to eat. Many food companies, actually a large percentage of them, do not employ a veterinary nutritionist. Sometimes they'll tell us that they have a nutritionist on staff, and a lot of times it's a human nutritionist. And I think we'll all agree humans are not the same as dogs and cats. Sometimes they'll tell us they employ a veterinarian. I am very quick to say they don't teach me enough in vet school to be that knowledgeable to build a dog or cat food. So I really want that board certified nutritionist. So that's number one. Number two, does that pet food company actually make their own food? Do they own processing plants? and control what comes in and out of that facility for ingredients. The majority, sadly, of pet foods on the market are processed in 1 or 2 large factories in the US that make pet food. If many of you have been around long enough to remember back when we had major recalls across large brands of food, kidney failure, liver disease, because of things that were inappropriately added to the food and made pets sick. Food companies that make their own food control those ingredients, and they have very high-tech ways to make sure the ingredients going into the food are safe for your pet. But that's a discussion for another day. The third thing I want to look at is if they make a claim, this will help prevent this problem in your pet. Do they have the science to back that up? Food companies that employ those veterinary nutritionists are going to do studies. If we feed this to their pet, number one, is it digested? They'll actually test the poop of the animal to make sure the nutrients in there have been actually absorbed and digested. Second thing they're going to look for is, was there actual a clinical benefit? So when they tell you it's good for something, you can pretty much be sure that it is. If a company isn't spending money on research, they're often spending money on advertising. If you see your food advertised in every magazine and TV program you watch, chances are they're not spending money where they need to employ the people they need to, or even to make their own food. All right, so where do you even know where to get this information? How do you know? Well, first ask your veterinarian. Most veterinarians are going to recommend foods that we know follow those principles. But there is a new resource that I'd like to introduce it to you. It's the Pet Nutrition Alliance. And on the Pet Nutrition Alliance, you'll see all of these principles spelled out again, explained to you why these are important. But what they also did is they reached out to every food company in multiple different ways and asked them to answer those questions. And they entered that information on a spreadsheet. At the top of the spreadsheet are the companies that said yes right across the board. As you go down the list, you'll see, okay, this one doesn't employ a nutritionist, but they might do this, this, and this. And you can make decisions based upon those answers. 90% of the food companies did not respond to those surveys, which is disheartening, but probably also means they couldn't say yes to any of those questions that were asked. We will share that website on the community television webpage so you can check it out yourself. And as always, ask your veterinarian what food they would recommend for your pet.
You know, there's going to be some changes with the Friends of the Council on Aging. After 28 years on the board as the president, well, not the whole time the president, lately, I'm retiring.
Oh.
And Nancy Levine is going to be the new president. But it has been such a pleasure to be on this board and work with the COA and the seniors, those programs that we did for the seniors and hope to do more. All I want to say is I'll be watching as they make plans for a senior center, which I hoped we had done for many, many years, and all the activities. And I'll still be hosting Littleton Common.
Yay. That's great.
Unless Mark, you know, gets kind of
No, I didn't
pushy.
ask for your resume. I already know your resume. Yeah.
okay.
But you still get recognized around town. Sometimes people will say,
Yeah.
I know you from somewhere.
Yeah, it's cute. I think it's cutest when young kids say that to me. I'm thinking, you're watching cable? Good for you.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Do you think that that might start happening to me now? Or?
I'm really not sure.
Okay, well, we'll
Yeah.
give it a couple months.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still on trial, probation as she called it before. So
I'll be covering your face with the balloon kind of thing, you know.
that's right.
We'll have your voice. But here on community television, we're always going to be looking for news from each church, club, organization.
Yeah.
We want to broadcast,
That's
and
right.
if you want to broadcast. But please, thank you for supporting the Friends of the Council on Aging and all the seniors.
Yeah. Well, thank you too for your involvement all these years with the Friends. I know that you've done so much with the thrift shop and all the events, and just the Barbara touch. You know, whenever there's an event, you know, you decorate in such a way that makes it special. And I know Nancy Levine's going to do a great job, but you know, they're definitely going to miss you.
Well, I appreciate it, but you won't miss me much because you're going to be seeing me anyway.
No, I said they're going to miss you. I'm going to still see you all the
Hopefully
time.
they're going to not miss me either
That's
if
right.
they
No,
watch the show.
They won't.
But
But listen, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you next time here in Littleton Common.
yes, don't forget our seniors. And you know what? September 12th is Grandparents' Day.
Oh, I can celebrate that now.
Yeah, I can really celebrate. I have a great grandson.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Is that Great Grandparents' Day too?
maybe.
Oh.
Oh, I'll get
If
twice.
it's not, it is now. All right. Thanks, folks.